Hello friends, welcome back to the James Allcott channel. What a day. Tuchel, off you go. And who will be the new manager for Chelsea? Two options here, and I want to do two videos, one on Pochettino, one on Potter. This, of course, is the one about Graham Potter, who's had an incredible rise, a huge inspiration to so many people, not least English managers. It proves that you don't have to play, don't have to be a superstar to be a great coach and be a great English coach as well. So an exciting element there. Him going to Chelsea, I have some concerns, some huge concerns, but tactically, how would this one play out? If you're new to the channel and you like this kind of stuff, we actually spoke about Brighton in the Fallout, which is a video that came out on Monday. Go check that one out. And if you enjoy this one, by the end of it, hit the like button and hit the notification bell, because you don't want to miss out on the Pochettino video, which we're going to talk about his tactical implementation if he is to become the new Chelsea manager. Right, let's head off to Potterland. I've got a couple of screenshots, a couple of lineups in terms of how Potter would set up. There's one that's sort of quite realistic, and then there's one that's wild. And Potter is wild when it comes to the way he sets up teams. And he's very, very freeing for the players that he has. He's very positive, and actually he's just incredibly innovative actually at times. He has obviously inspiration from different people, but he's brave enough to do it. Would he be brave enough to do it here? I think he would, but that's a question and a concern, and I'll go through a few of those at the end of it. What I did want to show you quickly is this is last year. Now, when you think of Chelsea, 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 is how Chelsea play a lot of times, but for last season Brighton played 3-5-2 a lot, but very, very tactically adaptable. Sadly, you can't see this on the screen. That's so annoying. But he played 4-2-3-1 6 times, 3-4-2-1 5 times, 4-1-2-1-2 5 times, 4-4-2 3 times, 4-1-4-1 2 times, and a whole host of others a few times as well. Sadly, that doesn't come up in it. But 3-5-2 is the way that he played last year, and actually this year, very, very similar. But when we look at the average positions, playing in a very, very different setup. So I think this could be the realistic, let's steady the ship as Potter comes in, system for him to utilise. We'll come back to that in just a second, but I want to focus on how he has got Brighton playing, because it is wild, but it's fun, and I wish I was a Brighton fan a little bit. But fortunately, we've got Mick Beale, who's also a tactical mastermind, so all's good. The thing to say is that although you come in and you've got a manager here, and this is the difference between the Poch video and the Potter video, Poch doesn't want to play 4 at the back. Potter is more than happy to play 3 at the back. And that is what you've brought Fofana in for, Koulibaly in for, Cucurella in for. So that's one really important element to this. And there will be casualties. There will be some serious casualties for either manager as they come in. But what Potter does, he likes to offer up so much freedom. As you can see from the arrow, Brighton are moving this way down the pitch. So these are the centre-backs. These are not the forwards. So as a starting point, I mean, that's fantastic. You've then got a number 10 in McAllister, who we'll talk about a little bit later on in this video. And this could work at Chelsea, because this is a team that's going to dominate the ball. It's got technical players, but there will be some big, big changes. And the big, big changes could be someone like Reece James, could be someone like Cucurella, but I think he'll be safe and realistic initially, because the thing to remember when it comes to Brighton is, although you've got Trossard and you've got Solly March here, 2 players who can play as wing-backs, they do not play as wing-backs. These 2 play as out-and-out wingers. Does this help Pulisic? Does this help Ziyech? So many questions when it comes to personnel. And when you've got such a gluttony of talent, you've got loads of options there as well. But the interesting thing to say here is that, yeah, you've got Trossard, who starts out wide and then cuts in, and then Solly March does a similar thing, and it floods this midfield. It floods the midfield. It allows you to move bodies high up the pitch quickly, but also I think it gives a chance, both in a defensive transition, to play someone as technical as McAllister. So when it comes to sort of mixing it up, and this idea that I think some people will go, oh, this works because Cucurella and Brighton and Reece James, and he's played back 3, you can use those guys. Fine, yes, true, right? But that might not be the final setup for what Potter wants to do. I think initially you do it, And I think what's nice about this is, as I say, in terms of players kind of coming out of the dark, Gallagher doesn't fit under Tuchel. With the way that they want to play, and we'll come back to these average positions, is those 2-8 roles are really interesting, and they're, again, quite freeing. You can get on the ball and you can press, and that's something that he's done absolutely brilliantly for Brighton. The likes of Casado here, the likes of Mwepu as well, being able to sort of get on the ball and drive, that's going to be a really, really key element of what Potter would bring to this lineup. Right, so I put forward that realistic steadying the ship setup, right? But there could be some surprises, and in particular for the roles of some of the players, in particular Reece James and Cucurella. Have a look at this. This is a more radical lineup, okay? And yep, I know Koulibaly's missing from that team, but at times Koulibaly's been a bit disappointing in possession, which is unlike him. But in a formation like this, where you're going to be a little bit exposed at times, there could be a casualty here and there, and someone's not going to be able to play. And we'll talk about that with Pochettino as well, with the back four, that someone that you've spent money on is not going to be able to be in this team. With this setup, it allows Sterling to play wide in that sort of Trossard role, shall we say. Ruben Loftus-Cheek comes in here, but if you're feeling outrageously fruity, you could put Ziyech on that side, or Hudson-Odoi maybe on that side as well. Again, that is a little bit fruity. But what I want to talk about is Reece James and Cucurella, because Cucurella, we've seen this before. He played in that role against Man United to brilliant effect. And Reece James as one of those eights, one of those attacking eights. You know, we talk about this team right now. He is the star. And him and Mount in that midfield, you know, you've got hard work. And when you think of Pascal Gross and his role in the Brighton side, there's absolutely no reason why Reece James can't do a similar thing. Let's go have a look at that, actually, because we look at his heat map, Pascal Gross, from this game. It's exactly that kind of role. Maybe a little zoom in, eh? Little zoom in, shall we? Are we zooming? We're zooming. We're zooming. We're zooming. We've zoomed. Pascal Gross is a player that Potter deployed as a right wing back in the past, but also as a player that is brilliant in central areas, has great vision, technical ability, he's mobile. Sound familiar? Reece James could be a really good fit. Clever in possession as well, both of these players. So technical, actually, both of these. That I think you could see Reece James in that role, you know, doing both things. And the parallels with someone like Sterling as well, and Trossard. Again, it's there for all to see when we have a look at the heat map for Trossard. And we're zooming. We've zoomed. Trossard here. If you think of Solly March at 3.10 and Trossard 2.37, they're the two players taking the most shots. So having players like that, again, if you wanted Ziyech on the other side, maybe it's a bit too much, I don't know. But to have those players who then cut inside and get those shots off, and allowing them to have a high average position, allow Sterling to play in this role, I think it could be really, really good, really, really frightening. And if you think of that penalty that Trossard won at the weekend against Ndidi, you could see Sterling getting to the byline and causing havoc from that point of view as well. But again, this would mean almost fake wing-backs. They're not wing-backs, they're wingers. And that's what Potter has done here. So that's what will be so different for this side. The final heat map, it's got to be our boy McAllister and the role of Kovacic, quite possibly. We've zoomed. There we go. And just to show you again that lineup. So if you imagine it, and this is kind of like for like, right? Kovacic in that role, can you keep him fit? Jorginho, could you play him in that role? I think you probably could as well. I think he'd be fine. But Kovacic could be really good, really, really good in this area, because in terms of mobility, technical ability, confidence in Kovacic in possession, he would be really, really strong. And very similar to McAllister, because McAllister, by having those really, really advanced eights, you just sort of take the game to the opposition. You play the game in the opposition's half, and then you have mobile defenders with one strong guy in someone like Dunk or Thiago Silva, in this case, for this team. His heat map here, the reason I wanted to bring this up is just for the person who's going to be the guy who's sitting and how high up the pitch he is. It's amazing. And again, for teams that dominate games, which is what Chelsea do, that's the kind of the player they need, or the kind of role that they need. Because I think that's the thing. It's not the personnel, and that's not what's lost Tuchel the job. It's how he's using them. And so, in summary, G Potts is one hell of a manager. And the way that he's got Brighton playing this year is pretty special. Here are my concerns. First of all, the bravery to do that. Is he brave enough to do that? I think there could be a bit of imposter syndrome. Do you know what I mean? As a manager, it would be like, what am I doing here? If and when he gets the job, unless he's got the ego to sort of step into those shoes of Tuchel, which hopefully he does. The second thing is, like they always say, choose your owner, not your club. And the transfer money that's been spent, and now you're making a change, and you've now got a situation where someone like Koulibaly might not fit into this team. Or, and now playing with a team where you don't need fullbacks, you need wingers. That's odd to me. So odd to me. So that's a concern. I think he's kind of been groomed for City a little bit. It does feel like that. So what would you leave Brighton and the lovely support network, a well-run club at this moment in time? Because once you move, and it's going to be to one of these big teams now because his reputation is so strong. Is this the one? Is this the time? Is this the owner? Is this the club? Is this the squad? I think probably in terms of options for a squad where, if you think of the Basuma goes, Cucurella goes, Maupay goes, and not really much has come in, and he's still found a way to make it work. There's no doubt that if given the empowerment and the support network, he can make a success of any team and do so playing attractive football. So he can work at Chelsea. Can Chelsea work for him? That is the big question for me. And is it worth it? Because, okay, Bramovich is gone, but you've got a guy in Toboli who I'm confused by, if I'm honest. He just is excited by shiny things at this moment in time, isn't taking his time to make decisions, isn't making them in a clear-cut way, feels reactive. So do you want to step into that? That said, this is a squad that could win a Champions League, as proven with Tuchel. This is a squad that has so much potential. So it's almost questions for Potter. Does he want it? Is this the time? Is this the moment? Is there a better job down the line? Or is it one of those ones where you miss every shot you don't take? Has he got to be brave enough to go and take it? Because there are elements there within that squad that could be pretty special for Potter and Chelsea fans as well, who could be really excited by the creativity that they will see in front of them. Guys, let me know how you're feeling about this. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you do not miss out on the next video, which will be how Poch would set up at Chelsea. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.